Hi everyone, it's Heydi and welcome to Home with Heydi. Here I share some life lessons and stories to help encourage you as you serve your home and your family well. This year, 2021, my husband and I celebrated 10 years of marriage, and I honestly never thought that far in the future. I just took one day at a time. I was not one who dreamt of a wedding and having married life and children. I just didn't think that way. And so looking back now and seeing, wow, it's been 10 years, I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm pretty proud of our marriage. And I just wanted to share 10 life lessons I've learned from my husband these last 10 years of marriage. All right, so jumping right in, I have my notes because you know how that is. Okay, so the first life lesson that my husband is very well known for is to be transparent and honest with people. And this isn't just everyone, but mostly those people that God places in your life to walk alongside life with you, to mentor you, to be friends. And I mean, I grew up knowing not to lie, to be honest, but there was always a guard that I held up as a child, as an adolescent, and as an adult, and that really held me back from maybe having true, genuine friendships and just letting people in. And so I've learned from him to just be more honest and transparent with my emotions, with the way I'm feeling, with just people, what's going on in my life. Not just the good, but sometimes the bad. And God brings those people in your life to be honest about motherhood, about work. And I always, like I said, had that guard up. But that's a life lesson to recognize those healthy people God places in your life to talk life out with, to be transparent and to be honest with. So moving right along, number 2 life lesson that I've learned from my husband is to prepare for the day ahead the night before. And I dislike this still to this day, but I know it's a great lesson. And my husband is so good at this. He will pull out his clothes the night before. He will shower the night before, lay out his clothes. If there is for work, if he has to go out for work, he will do all the paperwork, all the computer work the night before. Even if it means staying up a little bit later, he will get that done. So in the morning, it's a very easy, smooth morning. And again, that is a tough one for me because I program my brain to say, no, I'll get it done in the morning. In the morning, I'll pick up my clothes. In the morning, I will pack the lunches. And it has been really helpful, especially with the kids going back to school. I've started making their lunches at night, putting their lunch boxes in the refrigerator, and in the morning, I'm like, I can sleep in a little bit more because lunches are done. So I've noticed that about my husband, that it actually is a great life lesson. The third life lesson from my husband that I've learned is to make your bed in the morning. So again, not blasting my childhood, but my mom might say, I taught you this, and yeah, I'm sure, but when you're an adult, things just register differently. I saw him make our bed in the morning when we were first married, and I thought, what are you doing? Like, no one's gonna be in this room. We're gonna come back to bed in a couple hours. It just seemed like a waste of time. And I remember, I feel so bad, I would make fun of him, not in a very bad way, but I would just say, like, what are you doing? Wasting your time. So it was discouraging, I think, for him, because it's funny now, I'm the one who makes the bed, and he kind of slacks off on that. But it's a very good life lesson. I've heard many people say, make your bed in the morning. It just puts your mind in order for the day. You accomplished one thing. Your bed is made. When you walk in your room, if you need anything, you look at your bed and you're like, okay, that's done. It's just something about accomplishing a task that helps you kind of propel and get motivated for the rest of your day. The fourth life lesson I've learned from my husband is being on time means being early. Okay, so again, with my childhood, I'm one of 9 siblings, and being a big Hispanic family, don't want to blame that on always being late or seeming like we were running behind, but being early just was not something we did a lot of. And being on time, being early, yeah, none of that. So when I got married, when we were married, my husband was not just an on-time kind of guy. He was an early kind of guy. So for him, it's, if you're there 5-10 minutes early, you're on time, because you are able to assess the room, talk to people, find your seat, get comfortable, prepare yourself for the event. And usually it's church, but it's any event. You know, when you're rushing in the door, let's use church as an example. If you're rushing in the door and you have your kids with you, or you're just rushing in, being late does affect your mood and how you interact with people. Sometimes you're shorter with them and you don't really feel like mingling and chatting. But if you are 10 minutes early, you're able to ease on in, chat, catch up here and there, have a comfortable seat. And when it's time, you are ready for that event at church, for service, for worship. And so I know this is something that my dear husband has struggled to get me to understand, but I do see a great value in it. It is such a real important life lesson. Okay, number 5, this is a big one for my husband. It is, if you give your word to someone that you're going to do something, that you're going to participate in something, you should do whatever it takes to keep your word. For my husband, having, he worked in the church for many years as a pastor, so to him, his word was what he had to share with people. And if he said he was going to do something, he was going to do it. And I was more of the, sure, I can do that. And then things come up, I would call and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And it happens so often that people kind of are okay with it. People are understanding, but they're kind of surprised when you actually fulfill your role and you keep your word. And this is one with being a mom and having kids in schools and volunteering at church, we tend to want to say yes to everything. And if you aren't sure, then just say, I need to think about that. I need to check my calendar. Which leads to my next life lesson. Don't just keep your word, but look at everything on your calendar. Look at everything in your life before you say yes to someone. Okay, I think I'm on life lesson number 7. I kind of lost count. He understands hard work is going to be hard and it's going to be work, but you do it anyways. The payoff is great. That's just a great life lesson, to not give up, to not be slothful and kind of like sluggish, but to use the brain, the hands, the abilities that we have to do the work now that we are able to do it, and just be responsible. I think that's a big one. As parents, as adults, we really have to choose that responsibility and kind of grow up. All right, so this next one, I believe it's 8, is after a time of rest, serve again. And this goes back to my husband and I. He worked at a church, and he transitioned out of that ministry role, and so we took some time off from serving in the church to rest. And this can be applied to any part of life, but mostly serving involves more like volunteering, giving of your services for free. And so we had a time of rest. We were involved in a great church, and my husband was like, okay, we had our time of rest. We need to get involved again. We need to use the gifts and talents that God has given us, the abilities, and we need to serve. We need to serve the people of God, the community, and that's just a great life lesson because it brings you out of yourself to serve others. And if it weren't for my husband encouraging me to do that, I would still be resting. I would still be in that moment of rest, that season of rest. And it could have lasted 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. And you look back and you say, you know, these last couple of years, I've been just consumed with myself instead of recognizing I had my time to rest. Now it's time to serve. And of course, resting is going to happen throughout your serving time. It's just so important. It's a great life lesson to keep you active, to keep your mind active, your body active. Okay, so I'm down to the last 2 life lessons. Maybe I should have organized my notes a little bit better, but I hope I'm at the last 2. For my husband, it's basically, if it's not totally broken, you don't need to throw it away. It's his frugal side that really comes out. And growing up and even being a young adult as a single mom, I never really thought about being frugal or taking care of things. And it was always like, if I wanted a new shirt, if I wanted something, I just bought it. I didn't think about preserving it or taking care of it or or just valuing that item. My husband has always been so big on shopping store brands. You know, whether it's Walmart or you're in Kroger, it's like, shop the store brand first. And so now I catch myself when I'm out with my daughter, you know, she'll bring over the peanut butter and I'm like, is that the store brand? Hey, those pennies add up when you're buying for a family of 7, or, you know, yeah, we're a family of 7 almost. So it does add up. And again, I never thought about it before. I just bought what I wanted, bought what I saw on advertisements, but those pennies add up. And at the end of the day, that's more money in your pocket for your family, to bless them, to provide for their needs. Well, those were the 10 life lessons that I've learned from my wonderful husband, Jason, over these last 10 years of marriage. And I will say we are just like any other couple. We have our ups and our downs. And I would just suggest, if I may, if you are married, this is something that you can do too on those seasons where things are just lovely and you guys are having just great connection and schedules are great. Think of some life lessons that you've learned from your spouse. Maybe write them down, keep a journal, keep it in your notes on your phone. And you're gonna need those when times get tough, because when times get tough, we tend to think that we've not learned anything from our spouse. But in those good moments, think of those lessons that your spouse has introduced you to in life. And sometimes they're the ones that have annoyed you in the past, but now you see the great benefit of them. And so yes, we are just like any other couple. We're not always just agreeing on everything. Marriage takes work, and we're very blessed to be able to celebrate 10 years of marriage this year and to grow our family and to work together as business partners. I pray many blessings over your marriage now or your future marriage if you're single, and just be encouraged that marriage does take work and it takes lots of patience and lots of love and lots of forgiveness. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.